You muted my, okay. All right, now I'm chit-chatting, chit-chit-chat. Chitty-chitty chat-chat. Ah. Looking forward to both of them. All righty. Us together.
Can you say like testing 1,
Oh, yeah.
2, we'll be starting live in just a moment.
Yeah. Testing 1, 2. We'll be starting live in just a moment. On our YouTube channel, Sunset Spark. Okay. So it's already good. Okay. Hi. I don't know who Jonathan Sanchez is. Okay. So that's good. Yeah. Yay. Okay, so I think I've got Oscar. Hi, Oscar. Oh, good to have you tune in today. It looks like connection is good. Ishel, do you want to say hi? Say hi. And Elo, do you want to say a quick hello to our students at home?
Hi.
Oh, it's that camera.
Hi.
Okay, friends. Well, we'll go ahead and get started. Thank you for the warm introduction, Ishel and Elo. So you guys should know my name by now, hopefully. So I'm Miss Yadira, and I'm going to be walking you through the project for today. So make sure, as we wait for other people to log in, it's going to be a small class. We should have about 8 students today. I'm going to walk you through your packets and supplies so that you know what to expect for today. In your packets that I delivered to you or to your parents, there should have been, so in your manila envelope, you should have received a like a letter just describing what we would be doing and the link and all that good stuff. And then you should have also received 2 building guides. These are 2 of our original designs. We've got our spin robot and our doodle pen. So for today's class, we're going to do the doodle pen. So make sure you get your building guide, your box of materials, And then later on, we'll talk about the controller, the motors, and the and your cable. So I'm just going to take a quick moment to get my overhead camera set up. Okay, looks good. I'm going to zoom in a smidge so you can see. Okay, all right. So, okay. So Oscar asked, I got the package but not the letter, so that's okay. The letter, Oscar, just says like, hey, thank you for participating. This is the link for our YouTube channel. To wait to build the robot with the whole group at the exact time if possible, and just to make sure you take good care of the equipment. So it's okay if you lose a few pieces, but the main idea here is we don't want you to lose the big components like the microcontroller, the motor, cables, things of that nature. Okay, great. Let's see here. Okay. I'm just going to check, make sure we don't have any parents that are having troubles getting into. Oopsies. Okay. All right. Okay, everyone. So we'll get started in just a moment. Let me do this real quick. All right. Okay, great. Oh, making sure we've got everybody. Alrighty. Okay, so it looks to me like we've got everyone signed on. And I'm looking at one of our students, Oscar, said he built one of the doodle pens but forgot how to make it and what to program into it. So yeah, good question, Oscar. So as we're just going to start class, I do want to point out we're not going to go into programming per se. Let me switch over here. Okay, so so we're not going to go into programming today. It's more of like kind of looking at the mechanics of building this device. And actually, this is a good opportunity to quickly share with you the story behind this. There was something called the squiggle wiggle that we came across a long time ago, and essentially what it was a motorized pen, and the toy itself just kind of wiggled. There's a little motor at the top and just wiggled around. But the story behind it is that it was a physical therapist who had created a similar writing device to help some of her students or clients who had lost I think some control in their muscle movements here and here. And so this particular device or toy was to kind of help rehabilitate and build that muscle strength. I do think that that's kind of a fun way to explore and look at toys, is how does it help physical movement. I think about younger students who are learning just to control a pen or pencil as they're learning how to write. Like, all of that has to be coordinated between the brain and the muscles and the nerves, right? So one way to kind of help with that process is to strengthen the muscles by figuring out how to control it. So we won't go deep into that, but I do think that it's important to always explore the ideas behind these particular forms of technology, because there's always a fun story or someone's personal experience that I think is really important to discuss. So, okay, so without further ado, let's get started. All right, here we go. So everyone, we've got a, oh good, and Felisa's here. Hi, Felisa. Great to see you. Okay, So we are going to start off with the doodle pen. This is what it's going to look like. I know it doesn't seem really fun. I think for part 2, eventually down the line, I'd like to create a robot that looks a lot more friendlier, not just parts and motors. So the bill of materials. In this picture here, this is everything that you need to build the material. All right, or sorry, to build the robot. So I'm going to just put that off to the side, and I'm going to show you how I set up my workstation. Okay, it is going to be important to figure out which sizes are needed for each step. So what I like to do sometimes is take my pieces and just kind of put them over the picture so I know what I need. These are called long beams. Think of them as like building sticks. They provide support, not necessarily movement, but I'll show you the pieces that create movement a little bit later. So these are what I like to call my L-shaped beams because they look like an L, right? So I'm going to put those. It says here I need 1, 2, 3. Okay, I've got my 3 there. I'll put them up here. Oh, Oscar, excellent idea on building some kind of, or creating some kind of skin over the robotic pen. I think that would definitely look good. Okay, the next is what I like to call like a boomerang beam. This is great for different angles, so I'm going to put that over my picture here. Now, if I'm going too fast, just type into the chat room like, wait, slow down, Miss Yadira, and I will absolutely do that. I will stall a bit. Okay. So here we've got our 2 spur gears. And what we're going to be doing today is we're going to play around with a gear train. And when you turn one gear in one direction, what you're going to see is when it's meshed, it's going to force the other gear to move in the opposite direction. Now, what's cool about this is when you have different sizes and combinations of gears, you can actually explore something called mechanical advantage, which helps us understand or see how movement can be can go quicker, more powerful, or slower. And less powerful. So this is going to be very important for controlling the power and the movement of our robot. There's a teeny one here. This is a small gear. Make sure you don't lose that one. That's going to be important for the very end as well. We're going to use this as part of the gear train. Okay. All right. I see here 2 long blue pegs. Pegs as in P-E-G. So you're going to want to make sure you get that. Here are my 2 pegs there. I guess I'll go a little bit quicker. Yeah, guys, if I'm going too slow or too fast, please let me know in the chat room. Some of my students, I have a very young student joining us today, so I want to make sure I'm going at a good rate. So yeah, make sure you add it to the chat room. All right, so I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 blue. Now these are the small blue pegs. I'm going to show you what that looks like. One part is axle and the other part is just a regular like circular shape. Okay, so this is important when we want to play with things that move versus things that are fixed. So I've got to go 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. I also need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 black pegs. So let's go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5, and 6. So I've got all my black pegs here. We're going to do that there. All right. Now I have these little guys, by the way, this is my axle category, and this is helpful to attach different parts together. So I've got 1, 2, 3 short gray axles. This is the different, I know if you look in your box, you're going to see a long one, oops, like this, a long one, and then we have a short one. So you're going to want to make sure you grab the short ones. These are basically the length of your L-shaped beam. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These are 5 holes long. So let me just show you how to do that, like that. So that's how I know I have the correct size, because there really isn't a number or anything like that to keep track of. So I have 3 there. I have a studded axle and a brown axle and then a short red one. So I'll do that real quickly. Oh, by the way, class should be about, since it's our first time together, I think it's going to be about 40 minutes, in case you're wondering how long class will take today. And hopefully in the next 2 minutes we'll get started with the building. So I have this short red, my brown, and my gray studded. The only other 2 things that I need to do is get my bushings. So I have 1, 2, let me make that clear. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 bushings. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so there's that. And then 2 special connectors. So these look like little barrels with circles in the center. So we're going to use that as well. And I think that's it. Oh, sorry, let me back up. Move this out of the way so I can show you. For this build, you're going to need 2 rubber bands, which should be in your kit, and a marker and some paper for later. So we'll do that. Oh, and I don't know if I already mentioned this. You're going to need your medium motor. Okay? So go ahead. I'm going to close up my box, move that over there. All right, let me get. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and flip to page 1. All right, pretty straightforward. So for each step, there's usually 2 pictures. The first picture is all of the pieces that you need. The second picture is how those pieces will be connected together. So in this case, I need an L-shaped beam. It looks like a little leg. That is going to need 2 of these long blue pegs. If you look closely, these are really interesting the way that they were made, because one side is long. I'm going to zoom in a little bit closer. You'll see this side is long and there's a short side. Make sure you know where the long side is, or try to identify that, because that is going to go, the long way has to be inserted into your L shape. So here we have our L shape. It's going to be turned to the side. You take the long part of your blue peg and you snap it in, so that when you look at it like this, do you see that there's some blue here and some blue there? Let me bring that up. Right? Okay, so you're going to do the same thing with the next piece. All right, but this time you're going to build it, you're going to insert the blue peg next to the corner one. So let's try that. Should look like this. Yeah? Okay. Good, good, good. So my friend Oscar pointed out, as you guys may see, blue and black are stiff. Yes, that's so true. And the gray pegs are smooth. So if you look really closely, you'll see that there's little bumps on the blue pegs. And that's to add friction, so that when you build, your pieces don't just like fall apart, that there is some friction to hold it in a fixed position. Okay, next step. So we did step 1. Oops. Step 1, I'm going to put it off to the side. Step 2, I need my motor, my medium motor, and I need 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4 pegs and my short red axle. Okay, so, and then of course we'll need one of the spur gears. So here we go. With our 4 pegs, you're going to turn the motor on its side and you're going to insert it on each side of your block motor. So there's 1, there's 2, flip it over, 3, and 4. Okay? Then you'll take your short axle and your gear and slide this in the middle. Okay? Don't push it all the way through, just like that will do. Like that. Because with this end, now what you want to do is you're going to insert it into the tip of the motor. So we're going to do it like that. Yeah? Okay. So you can look at the different angles and the perspectives. I think that's really important when you're building because it might look good on one side, but maybe on the other side it looks a little wonky. So what I always like to do is put my completed step over the picture and see if that looks about right. Looks good to me, so we're good to go. Let's go ahead and switch or flip the page. I'm going to move this over here a bit. All right, I know my pieces look all jumbled, but I'm going to just move them over here for now so that I can keep track of the steps. Okay, so step 4. We need the 2 straight barrels. We call those special connectors. So we're going to go ahead and get, hang on. We're going to get 2 special connectors here, like that. We need 4 blue short pegs. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and then we're going to need our small gear. Let me show you that. And finally our studded axle. The studded one, by the way, just has like a head to it. It almost looks like a nail that you would hammer with. Excuse me. I'm going to do a quick check here. Make sure we're doing good. Okay. So for this next step, what we want to do is we're going to take our black special connector and we're going to insert our blue pegs into each end. Now make sure that if you notice carefully, guys, one side is like in the shape of a circle, it's round, and then this side is in the shape of a cross or a T. So that end with the cross goes right inside here, and then you'll do the same thing on the other end. Boom. Yeah. Okay. Go ahead and repeat that step on the next one. Okay. So now you should have 2. Okay. I'm going to try to zoom in a bit. Oopsies. I think I'm going to start zooming in a little bit closer so that you're going to be able to see better. Okay. So now for this, you're going to take your studded axle and you're going to thread it through one of those special connectors, just like that. Okay. And then you're going to take your small gear and thread that through. Boom. And now take that last special connector and sandwich it together like that. Okay? So that step is done. I'm going to move it out of the way. Let's go to step 5. Okay, so now what we need to do is we're going to build the kind of like the holding frame onto the motor. So grab your motor. You should already have it built like this, right? And now what we need to do is take the other piece that we just built, this piece, and then 2 of the L-shaped beams. And now let's start putting it together, shall we? So let's go. Okay, let me move this out of the way so you guys can see a little bit better. Okay. So what we want to do is we're going to try to insert this into the ends like this. Oopsies, like this. Like that. Do you see how I just plugged it in to like the leg part of your L beam? Awesome. Okay. And once you do that, what we're going to do is add to the motor. So I'm gonna position this so it's looking straight up here. Let me see here. It should go. Oopsies. So what you want to do, I'm trying to show you a good position, but I feel like I'm not doing a good job of that. So I have that laying down, and now what I want to do is snap right on top. Does that make, I don't know if you guys saw that. So I'm going to rotate it so you can see. We have our L-shaped beam, right? It's on the end of your motor, and you've got your special connectors. So the trick here, what are we looking for? We are looking, I'm going to bring this up closer. What we're really looking for is to make sure that this motor, or this gear, the small gear, is touching or meshing with the spur gear. So when you do that, you're actually playing around with the speed and the power. So we know that the power comes from the motor, but when you add gears, you can kind of play around with how fast, or you can control how fast your device or your robot works or moves. Okay, so now that we're done, we got to sandwich it. We got to close it up. So you're going to take your last L-shaped beam, and you're going to just slide it right on top. All right. Just wiggle around. That should feel really sturdy. I'm going to quickly look over at the chat room. How's everyone doing? Thumbs up maybe if you're doing okay. All right. I'll wait for, hopefully everyone's still with me. Okay, guys. So let's move on to the next page. We are now at step 6, okay? And now what we're going to do is we're going to add the pieces from step number 1. So I'm going to put that up there. And then we need these two axles, and 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 4 of our bushings. These just keep things in place. They don't allow for any wiggle, which I really, really like. Okay. Let me move that off there. All right. So I know this next step looks really tricky, but just hang in there. You'll be able to do it. I know you can. So let me move this here. All right. So I turned my motor kind of up on its belly so that these two gray kind of like walls are exposed or facing up. You'll take your piece from step 1 with the blue peg sticking out. You're going to slide it right through the middle. And then you're going to take one axle and thread it through like you're sewing. And do the same thing on the other side. Make sure that's nice and wiggly woos. Okay, good. So now you'll take these bushings and just place it right on each end, like so. Like so and like so. All right, cool. Now we're going to go to step number 7. We need 2 of these little guys. We're going to need 2, so we have our 2 long beams, 2, what do you call these, black pegs, 1 more axle, and a bushing, okay? So I am going to count, by the way, I'm going to quickly count how many holes I need to go down before I plug in the peg. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Same thing. Symmetry is our friend. Basically, whatever you do on one side, copy it on the other side so that it's symmetric, even. Our brain's like that, by the way. Okay, I'm going to now flip it onto its side like that. So do you see how the little black pegs are sticking out? That's what we want. And then I'm going to take my bushing and I'm going to just line it up at the very end. Do you see what I just did there? That's going to make it easier for me to thread my axle through, which I will do in just a moment. So here we go. There's one side and now the other side. And so now you have a little bit of this axle kind of sticking out from each side, right? So some from here and some from here. Good. All right. Let's go ahead and turn the page. Now it's time. This is, by the way, we're building a support to hold our marker in. So later on, this is going to be hanging in the middle there. So it's a little bit of this like whale, or not whale, but a dip. So let's go ahead and plug this onto our robot. And the easiest way to do that is you're going to slide this through. So it's at the very right. By the way, you're going to want to plug it in at these last two holes. So slide that in like so. Just that side and that side. Okay? Pretty simple, right? Okay. Next. So this next part is where we're going to be exploring kind of a big idea. I'm going to just take a quick moment here. All right. So what we're trying to do with this last step is it's pretty, I think, straightforward, but I think that it requires a little bit of understanding on speed. And I think the best way to help think about this is think of anything that spins really quickly, whether it's a cotton candy machine, like a ride at an amusement park. Things that spin very quickly generally push out energy, right, to the outside. And that kind of creates what we call the centripetal force. So it's going, right, and it's pushing things out. I think of like a vortex, even in nature, or like a hurricane, things of that nature. Like we see it, we see this kind of movement take place in different ways. And what we're going to do is we're going to harness that motion of the outward. We're going to try to harness that outward pushing motion and use that to create interesting patterns with our robotic pen. So having said that, let's jump to the last step. All right. Sorry guys, there we go. Let's jump to our last step. And what I did is I grabbed the axle, that beige axle, I threaded it through the spur gear, and now I'm going to plug it into the very end, the tip. And you'll see that the last opening here is in the shape of a cross, just like your the end of your axle. So we'll do that real quick. Cool. And now I'm going to add that. Where am I adding that? Okay, so if I lift this up, do you remember that we had a little bit of this axle sticking out from our gear train? Well, what we're going to do is we're going to plug in, let me show you on, we're going to plug in this, this little contraption we just built, slide it on the end. And when you do that, look what happens. This is a good test. We're going to physically run it like this or rotate it, and it shouldn't get stuck. So make sure you don't want this to be pushed out, because then look what happens. Oh, I guess it still works, but what we really want to do is make sure it's flush, it's perfectly level. So there, like that. Yeah? Cool, man. Okay, so we're done. Okay, we've got a few minutes to check our work. Look at it from each angle. Make sure that your robot matches the pictures. That's really the best way, I think, to ensure that you've built it correctly. So here's my rotation, my 360 angle. Okay. The bottom should look like this. Remember, the most important thing that we need to have happen in this robot is make sure that this gear is touching or meshing with this gear. If those two things are not touching, then the robot is not going to work, because this is where the magic happens. All of that rotation, all that spinning is going to be pretty powerful. And what we just did here is we added weight, so that just like as we discussed with like a cotton candy machine or a washing machine, it's going to push out some of that force, and that's what's going to allow it to, when you do this, it's going to go whoa, and that's what makes your pin dance. Okay. All right, guys, well, let's go ahead and load it up, and then I'm going to walk you through how to turn on your motor, your controller. So make sure that your robot is turned kind of like facing up, I suppose, like that this part is facing you. And now you're going to take your marker and you're going to load it in here. Remember, we built this like little pen support thing so that your marker could lay down. It's like taking a nap. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take my 2 rubber bands and I'm going to wrap it around these 2 black pegs. So here we go. So that's what I did for this one. Same thing with over here with the end. I'm going to wrap it around until those axles are like so. Boom, boom. That looks good to me. Okay, so now what you want to do, let's move that out of the way. Now let's get your controller. I'm going to show you how to power on. You're going to need your controller and your cable. So let's go ahead and do that. So I'm going to plug in my cable to A. So if you notice, oops, let's go this way. If you notice on the end of your controller, you'll see A, B, C, D. You want A. We're not programming today, unfortunately, and sorry, Oscar. So let's do that. Just because this is our, for some of my students, this is the first time that we're building together, and so I want to make sure that we do the basics and we don't go too ahead of get ahead of ourselves. So with the opposite end of your cable, you're going to insert that into your motor, and you should hear a click. Yeah? Okay, great. Cool, cool, cool. Now, now that we are all connected, let's go ahead and turn on our controller. To do that, you're going to press the middle button and hold it down for 3 seconds. Ready? 1, 2, 3, release. And this is what you'll see. Mindstorms starting. I'm going to try not to get the glare. There's our ceiling light has a bit of a glare here, so I'm going to do my best. Yeah, let's see. Hold on, everyone. Oops. Okay. I'm going to do a little, I'm trying to figure out how to get that glare off. All right, hang on. Okay, I think that's as best as I can get. So you should see in the very first column, you're going to see a little like play button, and there's going to be all sorts of different things. This drop down, by the way, this list, all this means is anyone who was using the controller before you played or ran the programs. Either it was Ghost, in my case I had someone run the Spoonmatic, and then Chipsticks. We're not going to run any of those programs because that's not what, none of our controllers have the doodle pen on it. So what I want us to do though is check our engineering skills and make sure that the mechanics works, which means we're just going to see that it moves properly. To do that, what we want to do, we want to go ahead and we want to get to this app with the 6 circles. So let's scroll over by pressing the right button. Let me show you the right button. There. So it's 1, 2. All right. And now you want to go down to where it says motor control. So that's that second option. So use your down or your bottom key button on the keypad. Just simply go down, scroll over there, and now press enter. Okay. So when you do that, you will see this little map, right? You'll see the ports A, B, C, D, just like on the ends of your end of your controller. Now, let's go back to what I showed you earlier. Here we have A. That means anything that's plugged into A should technically work. So here it gives you a map of, okay, if you want to control the motor that's plugged to A, you have to press, follow that line here, top button. So you're going to go ahead and press that top button. Not yet though, not yet. Wait. Once you are ready. So, okay. Okay, so what I need you to do now is get your marker, get your piece of paper. Where's my pieces of paper? Okay. And let's start doodling. So a couple of things I want to tell you. These are some safety issues here that I need to make sure you're aware of. This robot is going to rotate really quickly or spin very quickly at top. Do not put this near your eye, your hair. Don't do that because it will definitely get caught. We've never had any injuries, thank goodness. So then you want to be careful with your what do you call it? Your cable. Make sure you have your cable kind of out of the way like this. So you can hold it. You can hold your pen like this if you want. Just as long as you have it at a safe distance. Let me demonstrate what it looks like and then you can test. So that's how fast it should go. Okay. So that's forward. That's when I press the top button, by the way. It can reverse if you press the bottom button, but we're not going to worry about that right now. What I want you to go ahead and do now is just go ahead and uncap your marker or your pencil, whatever it is that you have attached to the doodle pen. And let's go ahead. I'm going to move this over here because I need to be able to push this down while I draw. So let me show you what that looks like. So just watch what that movement looks like first. Hang on. I'm going to put another piece of paper below so it doesn't bleed through. Alrighty. Alright, so this is just a quick demo. Now, it might not look as, it might not go all over the place like you were thinking, but I will say it's fun to experiment with the different different colors. I mean, you can, I don't know, you could do all sorts of cool tricks with this. So let me just, I'm going to do a very simple object here. All right, if you guessed a heart, guess what? You're right. Okay, so there's my heart. And I'm going to, now let's see here. I'm going to try to do a, gosh, I don't know, what should I draw here? I guess we could try to do a robot. But as you know, robots take on many shapes and sizes, so it's kind of hard. This would be traditional. Whoa. I'm going to tell you, this is pretty therapeutic. I think that drawing and coloring is, you know, pretty calming, but having the robot do the patterns for me is kind of cool. So there's a little robot. I don't know, what else can we do here? Maybe we do a, oh yeah, be careful guys, this is gonna, it might bleed through, so make sure that you are careful with your workspace. Don't put it on, I don't know, important documents, for example. All right, so I'm gonna go to the chat room. You guys tell me what you want me to draw, and I can try to draw it. All right, and let's see, Oscar, do you have any ideas? Maybe something preferably that's blue. While you guys chime in, let me see what else I can do here. I really do think that when you play around with the different angles, you can see how the stroke looks a lot more interesting. Let me go to a better angle so you can see here. I think I could just do this all day. All right, so I have a request. Let me see here. Oscar says, giant tuna from Animal Crossing. I don't even know what that is. I'm going to quickly look because I don't know what that is. Tuna from Animal Crossing. Okay, this will be my last drawing, and then we're going to say goodbye. Tuna from Animal Crossing. Okay, guys. Okay. Oh, I don't know if I can do a regular fish, I guess. Wait, it looks like something like this, maybe. Oh yeah, that is tricky to get those interesting angles. All right. right, guys. I think that's as good as it's going to get for my tuna picture. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and cap my marker. Let's go to, okay. So I want to say thank you, everyone. I hope you enjoyed doodling with me. So tomorrow's class is going to be at 10 a.m. We're going to be doing our spin bot, which is this really fun spinning robot. It's pretty simple. Yeah, I'll talk a little bit more about Centripetal Force, and then I'm going to show you a cool arts and craft activity that you could add on to your spin bot for tomorrow. But for today, you know what? Enjoy some coloring and drawing with your robot. Do some cool art, and send me a picture if you do something that you really like. Just shoot me a picture, and maybe I'll post it tomorrow when it's time for class. Yeah, I guess let me know if you guys have any questions. Thank you so much to my students who tuned in, and hopefully I'll see you guys tomorrow. All right, thanks everyone. Bye. Oh, wait, to turn it off. To turn it off, you're going to press, let me go to this real quickly. To turn off your controller, you press left, top left, twice, 2 times. Keep going, and then it's going to ask you to power down. You're going to select the check mark and then press enter. Okay? And that's it. All right. Sorry, I forgot to tell you that. Okay. Thanks again, everyone. Have a great day. Bye.